There was just a day where I woke up and I couldn't hide the fact that I was just not happy. At that stage, I was just like, I'm going to give this one more shot. And literally within a week, I got the first email. We want to book you for a guest set. This is our budget. I'm like, cool. My transition into DJing full time didn't entirely happen on purpose. I was saying yes to everything. I was just like, yes, yes, yes. It was crazy. I hit 10K on the 1st of January, I think, and then reached 100K by March. It's something that's really important to think about that maybe isn't discussed as much, like on this topic. You need to be able to...
Welcome back to this week's Off the Record DJ podcast, and we are coming through with guests on guests. This week, she posted her first TikTok in 2021, and since then has a global following of over 200,000 people, played in Mallorca, Cyprus, France, Munster, Ibiza, Germany, Milan, Spain, multiple festivals. It's Annabel. Hello.
What an intro. I feel like you know where I've been more than I do.
Listen, I've been doing 24 hours of stalking for this podcast.
Love it.
Scrolling. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a great summer. I'm in a good place. I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying the journey.
First time in Leeds.
First time in Leeds, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even realise that until I got here this morning, but the weather came through for us.
Yeah. Thanks for coming up. We were going to do this on Zoom. We thought, no, it needs to be vibes. We need to do this in person because we've got a lot to talk about because your journey has been sort of rapid and it's taken so many different directions, but you are killing it right now doing some amazing gigs, and I think it's a great opportunity and a lesson that people can take away from various ways that you've got into the industry, and we're going to talk about it now. So how long ago did you posted your first TikTok, you said in 2021, like February 2021, but were you DJing before you started posting content?
Yeah. So I had a slightly, I've kind of come into my DJing journey quite backwards compared to other people. So I started DJing properly in like 2019.
Okay.
I had sort of picked up a controller, I think the year before, messed around with it, thought this is terrible, and then just put it under my bed and didn't touch it again for another year. Yeah. And then in 2019, I started practicing and recording a couple of mixes and putting things online. Mm-hmm. And because I had a background in the industry already through community radio,
right?
And I was doing all sorts as well. I like ran a music blog and I'd interview some artists.
So
you know, when you're like
always interested in like the scene,
yeah, always, like from the very beginning. So because I sort of had a bit of a network in the industry already, I was able to get 1 or 2 gigs off the back of that.
Nice.
And I mean, you know, I'd be just kind of warming up in like a shop or something, pressing play on a few tunes, didn't really know what I was doing. And that was kind of where I was at when we went into lockdown in 2020.
Okay.
And I panicked. I was like, oh my God, I've just kind of found something that I feel like is going to work. Like I feel like this is my thing.
But now the clubs are closed and like...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So lockdown was announced. I panicked and I ordered a microphone online. And I was like, I'm just going to launch a radio show on a whim.
Nice.
And I launched The Antidote with Annabel, which is my radio show on SoundCloud.
Okay.
I always had that name in my head. And I was like, one day I want to do something with this name.
Yeah.
So I began like a radio show where I was like basically recording DJ mixes and then I'd like chat over the top and introduce my favorite producers and artists.
Sick. All on SoundCloud.
Yeah. And then from there, I was doing that for about a year, and I actually started to get some loyal listeners on SoundCloud. Nice. And that's when people started to encourage me to join Twitch. Yeah. Because by this point, it was the beginning of 2021. I think the 3rd lockdown had been announced.
Yeah. It was,
and I was like, we're not going anywhere, are we?
They all blend into one. After the first one, the good one, they say. the rest of them just chaos.
Yeah, exactly. So by that point, I was like, okay, cool. We're not going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah. And people were like, you should start streaming your DJ sets on Twitch. And I was like, to be honest, I'm a fraud. Like, I can't DJ live yet. I've just been in my room, like, and I will re-record a mix like 15 times until it sounds good.
Definitely.
So I was like, I'm not ready to actually live stream DJ sets.
Yeah.
But I thought, screw it. Like, you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and
100%.
just go for it with these things.
Sick. So before you mentioned there, you were doing some bits in the music industry before. What were your jobs before DJing?
So back when I was even at school, I was studying music production.
Yeah.
And then when I went to uni, I was doing languages at first, which didn't really work out.
Yeah.
Still can't speak any other languages. But on the side, I was making music and I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be a pop star. I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be a rapper. I wanted to be everything.
Me too. Still.
Yeah. That's where it all begins, right?
Yeah.
So I was making music and writing and doing a bit of production.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'd switched to a commercial music degree and moved to London. So I was at Westminster Uni. And they were like, you've got to do your final project. And for people who are making music and chose music as their final project, that had to be like an EP went online.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I think that's kind of silly. Like, because if you're not ready, then what? It's going to be a bad thing to put something online before you're ready. So I was like, okay, abort. And I was like, what else can I do? And I thought, I just love chatting to artists about their journey. So I've kind of naturally transitioned into presenting.
Nice.
And then I started doing community radio on the side.
Yeah.
So I had a show on Represent FM.
Oh, yeah, really cool sort of underground.
It's like based in Brixton.
Yeah, Brixton, yeah.
And then I did Radar Radio for a bit,
Yeah.
R.I.P.
R.I.P., yeah. Oh.
But at this point, you know, none of that was making me any money.
Yeah.
And I was super broke, like had just moved to London and honestly just needed to like pay the rent. So after trying to kind of take my radio show to the next level and failing, I was like, I'm just taking a big break from the industry. And I'm just going to focus on getting some 9-to-5 experience and climbing the career ladder so that I can afford to live in London.
Yeah. So fast forward a bit then. So you started posting a bit and your friends were going, yeah, do this Twitch thing. You started getting into this Twitch thing. When did things start to like sort of bubble over you? Like, actually, there's something in this. Like,
it was definitely Twitch for me that did that.
Okay.
So lockdown changed my life, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I thrived in lockdown. Like, I'm very privileged to be able to say that.
Yeah.
But like, you know, we were locked away inside. And at this point, my family were living just an hour away from London. So my sisters and I all moved back home.
Okay.
And I just was able to put all of my free time into this passion project and just learn and watch all of your videos to learn how to DJ.
Yeah. Remember when we followed you, you had like 200 followers or something like that. I was like, oh, sick mixes though. Let's see what happens.
That is crazy. I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, spent many hours watching like the online tutorials and then I was like, okay, I'm going to give this Twitch thing a go.
Yeah.
And I started streaming and like I have pictures from my first live stream. I say pictures because it was like a slideshow because that's how bad my equipment was. Like the video wouldn't even move.
Yeah.
And so that was like a whole journey in itself with all of the tech side of
my
things.
God. It gives me anxiety now when we do a live stream because even now we've got all the equipment and everything. Even now when we press go, something
100%.
Something.
Every time.
Yeah.
To this day, I can't start a live stream without there being a technical issue.
Yeah.
It's just a rite of passage.
The amount of Crossfader videos we put out around different ways to live stream, and then it would work, and then they change something, and it'd be totally different. You were like, oh my God. So that's the most stressful bit of lockdown for me, like learning how to live stream.
Oh my God, absolutely. Like there were tears. Like I would literally be like on my bedroom floor in despair, like, oh no, I just realized I need to order this like adapter from Amazon to be able to connect this to that.
Yeah.
So that was a whole other nightmare in itself. But I persevered and I started streaming online and I will never forget those first few streams.
Yeah.
Like there were 4 people in the chat.
Yeah, of course. Everyone starts with 4 people in the chat.
You just got to power through.
Yeah. Just got to learn their names. What their dog's called, and
exactly.
please come back tomorrow.
They it's amazing now because looking back on it, it's like I remember all of the usernames, like all the people that were there, and I'm like, you guys like helped kickstart my DJ career. But that's where it all really properly began for me.
So when that started, and after lockdown when things started opening up, what happened then? What happened to Snowball? Did you start getting some gigs or works? I know you've worked at the Adidas flagship store in London for a while.
Yeah.
Did that all come off the back of this, or?
Well, I had actually done one gig there, like on the last weekend of 2019.
All right, okay, yeah.
So like before lockdown, and I loved it, and I literally got in, like, as you all do in these kind of like big like brand events, through someone like pulling out, and like I was like, oh my god, I'll jump in, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was someone who I'd connected with like previously in one of my jobs, and yeah, so then I managed to get back to that, and that was actually one of the first gigs that I was able to do, because it was a shop, and it was like super clean, following all the restrictions. And for the first few gigs back, I was there with my mask on.
Oh right, of
just
course,
literally in the corner with my COVID mask on, just rocking away. And so that was actually just so helpful for me to have that kind of like security, at least, because that was like more of a residency.
And you kept live streaming from the shop.
I did.
Yeah. She's amazing.
I wasn't 100% sure if I was allowed to.
Yeah.
But I was like, better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
100%.
And actually, like, after a while, I would obviously like say to the staff, come over, have a look. They'd be like, you streaming? They really liked it, and it became actually like a good, like added value to my brand as a DJ. And so I loved doing that, and they were really, really long sets. So I really enjoyed the company of like the chat, just keeping me going. Yeah, 100%. Keeping me on my feet for 6.5 hours.
I love that.
But yeah, it was also a way to like diversify my income, I guess, because with Twitch you can earn money, and that's another way that I was able to get this career off the ground.
A good part of this podcast is you're going to chat about like the different income streams for DJs, because it's never been more accessible to earn money outside of like the clubs, like DJing in a club for 6 hours. And we talk about it a lot on this podcast, like the ways you can make money. Like even like DJing in a shop like Adidas is like, that's another way, you're not doing anything on a Saturday day. Like these shops want content. Like it's not out of the realms of possibility if you approach one of these, a Nike shop or an Adidas shop and say, I'm a DJ, blah, blah, blah. Most of them will be like, oh yeah, we'll give it a shot for a week, blah, blah, blah. And you can get good content and all that kind of thing. Sticking with the streaming stuff then, before we move on, like, you've done like hundreds of streams now, and you've got a good following, and that was like the start of your like, oh, actually, this is going to be a thing. Let's do some questions around live streaming, because still now it's such a great way for either a younger audience or somebody who might live in an area where there's not the clubs or not the opportunity to just get live experience and get on decks, get in front of people, and have like a show up, like learn to show up, learn to DJ for 4 hours straight. So live stream then, what do people need to get set up with a live stream? Like what you said, like the first ones you were like,
I mean,
basically my camera, my phone, and like,
I want to say that you can go super budget with it, but it's expensive. No, I'm playing. You can, I mean, now thankfully with like TikTok streaming as well, like you can literally just stream on your phone. You have an iRig or an Evermix, connect, and you're good to go. I wanted to, because it depends what platform you're choosing as well, because if you want to stream on Twitch or YouTube, then it's kind of another level of quality. You're doing like the landscape
you can have
streaming,
like visuals and that thing if you want to. But like, how often do you need to show up to sort of build a following? So
I'm going to talk about Twitch, because that's all I really know. 100%. With Twitch, I think lockdown it really was the best time to kind of launch a channel on there, because obviously everyone is stuck at home. Like no one can go out anyway. No one can go and spend their money in the club. So you have so many people online and who want to support creatives as well. But I think with Twitch, to really get your channel up and running, you want to be streaming about 3 times a week. And you ideally want to be streaming for 9 to 12 hours a week as well. So that's like maybe three hours minimum per stream. And I do see it as a full-time job.
100%.
So I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't been at home with no distractions in the evenings, able to completely throw myself into it.
For sure.
And even when lockdown lifted and life sort of semi went back to normal, I found it really hard to stay on top of that.
Sure.
And you have DJs, all over the world who are full-time Twitch DJs.
Just doing it like all the time, like
Yeah.
every single night pretty much.
Because even when you're not streaming,
Yep.
you're engaging with your community,
There you
like
go.
most likely on Discord. You're hanging out with your community in the chat.
Yep.
You're planning your next stream. You're building something new and interactive
Yep.
that's going to incentivize viewers to come along and support you. It really is so much work. But
Big
what
time.
I will say is that with the likes of TikTok now, you can be a little bit more, just not like as invested as you might need to be on Twitch.
Yeah, because it's got the reach. It's you know, it's more set up for you to be able to find an audience and sort of nurture that audience, build quicker.
Yeah.
And then you can like piggy off the back of your normal content. It's kind of like a hamster wheel of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And like TikTok is amazing for discoverability.
Big time.
Like when you
It's
go
his main
live,
thing.
you could just have like hundreds of people come through.
Definitely.
And as long as your content is engaging and you can
Yeah.
interact with the chat enough, like you can keep, you can retain most of those viewers.
Yeah.
It's very up and down, like how it works. But it's just so different to Twitch, which is a lot less, you get a lot less discoverability there, but you have a much more engaged community and therefore probably more support.
Yeah. How does, so DJs might be like, yeah, I want to start doing it, but it's a full-time job. Like, how do I make money from streaming? What are the income avenues?
So with streaming, with Twitch, it's 100% donations based.
Okay.
So literally everything you make is just off the back of someone feeling generous and wanting to donate.
So that's why the community aspect of it,
Exactly. Yeah.
talking to people is like
So important.
key.
Yeah. And actually in most of my Twitch streams, I'm not really DJing that seriously. I'm mainly just like chatting shit with the community.
Yeah, I've seen like outtakes of you with like a martini glass and just like,
I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like that camera's having hit. I went live the other day and like my camera just like had turned off. And I was like,
but
hey
the audio,
guys,
still audio.
So I was like, cool. I did like the big reveal when I switched from the starting soon screen. And I was like, okay, cool. You can't even see me, but here I am. So then you're just like troubleshooting live. But yeah, it's all donations based. I mean, you can make ad revenue, but that's very minimal in comparison.
Sure,
So it's basically down to you as the streamer to make it as interesting and exciting as possible for people to donate. And that involves things like designing graphics and like building overlays and reactions to support actions is what they would call like subscribing or tipping. So it gets very nerdy. And I spent many nights like up until
Geeking
4 in
out.
the morning just like trying to work out how on earth to like export this file in the right format to then upload it on this website, which I then pull as an overlay on Twitch. And then I've got to make sure it triggers in the moment, because imagine if you tell someone that if they tip X amount, there's going to be like dollar signs falling from the sky, and then they tip and then it doesn't work. So you just, it's very like, very stressful, but I love it.
But worth it. And like, 100%. Like, like I say, another income stream. And if you're someone who's like DJing Friday, Saturday night, and you've got like the week free, it's like, think about it and start it. Same with TikTok again. TikTok works where, like I say, for more for discoverability, and if you've got good content already there, it just helps push your other content as well when you're streaming live. But like you say, you've got to be engaging, get to know people, use the microphone, and it's a good way. Yeah,
and also I can't forget the most important thing, which is to just be yourself.
100%, yeah.
Like if you
some of your outtakes have gone like you post your outtakes, right? Yeah.
You just literally had to be yourself. Like it's so easy to get nervous, of course, with live streaming. And for the first few streams, I was very like uptight and probably quite awkward. And I look back at those first videos and I just cringe. But people just love seeing you like relax into it and being yourself and just laughing about stuff.
Amazing. Fast forward to now then. You are now full-time working DJ. Amazing. When did you make that decision? Like and how?
Do you know what? I knew this question would come. And my transition into DJing full time didn't entirely happen on purpose.
Okay.
So I was working all throughout lockdown. I still had a full-time job. And then when we went back to the office after that, I was trying to maintain that and also maintain the streaming schedule on the side, which was already quite a struggle, but it I just hadn't thought about going full time yet. There just wasn't an option yet. I wanted to be a lot further along in my journey before I took that leap of faith. Around that time, I got a new job. I was offered a position at another startup. So I moved from my previous job, which I've been at for like 2.5 years, to this new startup. And like as early as the first day, I was just like, okay, I've made a big mistake.
Oh God, really?
It was like, I won't go too into detail, but it was just not the right. It just wasn't the right fit for me.
Okay.
And I tried to force it for a while.
Yeah.
Like didn't last very long. And I mean, like we've all had experiences with work when it's just not the right fit for you, and like it just ends up knocking your confidence, or like, I mean, I was miserable. Yeah. And I was a shell of a woman by the end of my time there, which was 3 months to be specific.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
just long enough for my probation.
Yeah, yeah. So like a blessing in disguise, and it's kind of forced you into going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, there was just a day where I woke up and like by this point, I couldn't hide the fact that I was just not happy. And I kind of went into the office that day and just knew that I was coming out without a job.
Oh God.
And it is so funny because I left and like I was stressed.
Yeah.
Because I never not had a job.
Yeah.
I literally like was on a salary before I even graduated. I was like, get me straight into the rat race.
Of course.
Let's get on
pay
payroll.
these bills.
Yeah, exactly. And because it was so kind of like unplanned, and because there'd been so much emotion building up just like in this particular job situation, it was like a huge relief. Yeah. And I was crying, but I was like not sad.
Yeah.
And I was like, hang on,
100%.
what is this?
Yeah.
And I called my sister and I was like, I don't have a job anymore. I don't know how to tell mum and dad. And she was like, this is great.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, right, next step, I'm going to call mum before I call dad. And I called my mum, and I'll never forget. I called her and I was like, Mum, look, I've got to tell you something. And literally nobody was surprised, by the way, because that is how like bad the situation was. Yeah. And I was like, Mum, like, I don't have a job anymore. And she was like, that's fantastic, darling. You were so miserable. And I was what?
Yeah. You were being mean to us for like 3 months.
Literally. That was the situation. And then I walked into a Pret. And you know, every now and then, I don't know if they still do this anymore, but like every now and then they would just like give a free coffee.
Yeah. You got a free coffee.
I got a free coffee, and I was
like,
oh my God. And I looked at her and I took the coffee and I had like tears in my eyes, and I was like, you just made my day. I've just lost my job. She was like, you'll be absolutely
You're
fine.
Gonna be fine.
And I just literally bounced away with a spring in my step.
Amazing.
And I mean, at that point I was making enough from Twitch to just about cover the rent.
Yeah, okay.
And so I was like, if I can just get a few gigs a month, I should be okay.
Yeah.
And that was the plan.
Yeah.
In my head, I spoke to loads of my friends, big up my support network.
Yeah.
And one of my friends just said, whatever you do, just don't stress out this week. Just give yourself a week to just process the situation. Yeah. And I did not sleep properly for weeks. It's the weirdest. I guess if you plan this move, then you've kind of gone through that thought process already.
If you're planning a process, you've probably got yourself about 3 or 4 gigs, and you're like, I've actually got, this kind of steady thing. Yeah. So but to go sort of cold turkey.
Yeah, like overnight. I was like, okay, cool. I haven't quite set myself up for this yet. And it was just this like crazy feeling of that. And every freelancer will understand this.
100%.
Just feeling completely and utterly alone.
Yeah.
Like no one's got your back.
Yeah.
You're not getting that salary in your bank account at the end of the month.
Honestly, I swear to God, it'll never leave you. I've been in the game 10, 15 years. And even like my residencies now, I would treat them like it will be like my last one. Yeah. Because like there was a time where I got a letter from all my residencies in a week, and like I was like you, I went from making like a grand a month to having like nothing in like a week, and I was like, oh
yeah, money disappears. It really just disappears as soon as it comes into your account. It's gone.
Anyone that's self-employed will just understand that it's just like
yeah, exactly.
But it's that fear could just drive you towards it. So you had this like fear, but this opportunity to be like, oh, I don't have anything else to do and focus on. Let's just go all in.
And I had the best community, and I could just be completely transparent with them. And I've always been like that. I can't hide anything from the core community on Discord and 100%. Even my Instagram to an extent. So
yeah. Well, you've got a great series on TikTok called DJ Diaries, which is like just you unfiltered, and it's so cool because you're just telling your life experience as it's happening. You're not like, because a lot of DJs just post the good stuff and it's like, look at me, I'm DJing at this festival, love me, right? Yeah. But there's so much, and anyone that listens to podcasts who's a DJ and will know all these kind of like weird struggles you have, like equipment not working out and promoters not paying you and all this kind of stuff. And this DJ Diaries is great. So yeah, follow Annabel on TikTok and have a look at them. So some of your topics. One, let's talk about this. Like you say, you've got no gigs and you're like, oh my God. Fast forward to today when you posted about you booked yourself like a mini tour in like 4 different parts of the world in Europe. How does that happen? How like?
So it follows on exactly from like this transition into DJing full time, because when I first went full time with it, I was like, right, I'm going to give myself like 6 months to a year. Yeah. I'm going to give myself 6 months to see if I can survive. Yeah. I'm going to give myself a year to see if I can sustain that. Sure. And then at the end of that year, I'm going to review the situation and like see if I need to switch up the game plan.
Which is already a good plan, because I don't think like that.
Yeah, I mean,
like, what am I posting today?
Do you know what? Big up my parents, because they would just be like, "What's the plan?"
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, I would have just been like bobbing along.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, so okay, I was like 6 months in. I was like, cool, still afloat, still standing. Yeah. But by the end of the first year, so it's 2 months in October, so 2 months this month basically since I went freelance. And after the first, at the end of the first year, I was like, I'm not where I want to be actually. Okay. Yeah. Like I haven't really grown that much. Mm-hmm. I'd say maybe I'd say this is like just before I went viral on TikTok for the first time. Okay. So I was like, right, I haven't had any like significant growth. Mm-hmm. I'm still relying on Twitch. Yeah. And my residency. Yeah. Which isn't challenging me because it's a shop scenario. It's not a club. You don't have to hold a dance floor. Sure, yeah. And I was seeing like, all of my DJ peers like getting out there and doing festivals were back up and running, like even though it was a bit hit and miss still. Yeah. And I was like, right, okay, I need to change something. Like something has to go, or I need to do something differently, or I need to be more proactive. And like, I mean, I've been making it all up as I go along, but I could at least just acknowledge that I needed to make some changes basically. So it was around this time last year where I made the decision to let go of my residency and focus more on like trying to just actively pitch myself to like events that I wanted to play at. Cool. So I started doing more outreach, and I also started creating more content. And I then had my first viral moment on TikTok. And I remember it so clearly because we were on a plane to Gibraltar, where my dad is from. We got a place out there. And I was flying out with my sister. And I was like, I'm going to use this flight really productively. Like, I need to get on the content hustle. Let me take this seriously. Cool. And we landed, and like the signal came on, and we were in separate rows because we were just like being cheapskates. And the signal came on, and I messaged Chrissy, and I was just like, dude, I've just drafted 27 TikToks on that flight.
On the flight? Yeah. Amazing.
And I'm not even joking. 3 days later, I went viral. Crazy viral, like millions of views. I was like, oh my God. And it's just like, it's so bad. It is like a drug, but you just suddenly feel like this sense of hope. Like, And when you see your content do so well, you're like, there are people out there that love it. There just weren't enough eyes on it before. Yeah. So that gave me like a new lease of life.
Big boost.
Yeah. And however, it wasn't translating into like any business for me at that stage. I was like getting a couple of like, inquiries in here and there, and like cool projects and collaborations, but like, it wasn't converting financially, basically.
Yeah, into the gigs and people reaching out. I think a lot of people think, go viral, got 10 million views. Where's my private jet? Like, where's my agent? Like, it's not really work out like that, does it?
No, unfortunately, that's not how it works. Yeah. And then, yeah, so from there I was like, okay, cool, let me just keep doing this. And I did manage to use that momentum to reach out to gigs. And I sent so many emails.
Did you?
Last winter.
That's good.
Yeah, to try and like basically pattern like a bit of a route around Europe in like a certain period of time.
Yep.
Again, just looking at other DJs and following the blueprint.
Yeah.
But I got like 2 replies.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this is really bleak. Like, why does no one talk about this?
Yeah.
This DJing thing is really hard.
Rough. Yeah, it's rough.
Like millions of views on TikTok won't help you.
Doesn't help.
And then, to be honest, I went on to have the worst winter.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like it was bad. I had let go of the residency. I wasn't streaming as much because honestly, my mental health was just not in the right place. And then it was winter. I got ill and it dragged on for ages. I lost my dog, family dog, which just broke my heart into a million pieces. I was at rock bottom.
Yeah.
And this was when I was like, I think TikTok doesn't completely translate to promoters yet. And I think that I need to really, really focus on Instagram.
Okay.
And I was like, this is my last shot.
Yeah.
It's my last shot now. Because I'm like buzzing today and I've just had the best summer probably of my life.
Yep.
But it's been 2 years of like a really lonely
graft.
Yeah.
Grind
and just a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah, sure.
So, and at that stage I was just like, I'm going to give this one more shot. And then like, I don't really have a choice but to look for work again. And I started posting an Instagram reel every single day.
Every day.
For months. 3 months specifically.
Yeah.
3 months.
Yep.
Every day. And one of them finally started to grow.
Yay.
And it started picking up and then like more of them picking up. Yep. And the journey was like, it was crazy. I hit 10K on the 1st of January, I think, or the 2nd of January.
Yeah.
And then reached 100K by March.
Mad.
And I was like, what? Because when you start getting that, when you start getting the traffic and you're like, don't stop.
Well, we just had some lunch. We were talking about this. It's like when you are posting consistent content and not getting any results, like it's like you said, a lonely, bleak place. And it's like no one's watching this. What am I doing? What I'm up to the early hours. I'm scrolling, trying to get ideas, and I'm going to like, I don't know, a gig or in my bedroom and I'm editing and no one's like watching. But the beauty of kind of posting when no one's watching is you can mess up and you can refine your content, get it better. And it's just like reps. It's like going to the gym. You like do reps and reps and reps and you get better. And then what happens is once one go viral, then you've got loads of content for people to come and just indulge and just be like, oh my God, where has this person been all my life? Like all of these mixes, I love this music. And then then you get the follow, you get the shares. Because if you go viral straight away, there's no point. Because they've got no more content and they won't come back.
It just won't like convert into like loyal followers. And 100%. It's true. It's so I can't express like how demoralizing it is. Yeah. And my sister who I live with would come back from her job in the city, like feeling super pumped after a great day, being really productive. And I'd be on the sofa. What
am I doing?
I've not left the house all day. Yeah. No one's seeing my stuff. No one's replying to my emails. Like my bank balance is getting lower and lower and lower. And I'm just like, this isn't working.
Yeah. So you just said you had your best summer. So it's translated into gigs now, which is, finally we're here. So talk to me about your summer. Where have you been? What have you been playing? What kind of shows?
So it's so funny as well because I was speaking to a friend about like the growth on Instagram and how like it won't convert into bookings straight away.
Sure.
Which like it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Yeah,
You've got more eyes on you. People are seeing your profile and they're adding it to their spreadsheets.
Sure.
But you might not get that email for a few weeks or even a few months. Like it takes time.
You still got to like show up and be consistent, and it gives you credibility to start with. So reaching out to somebody who was, if you've got no followers and you reach out to someone, you're not going to get a reply. But if you've got 50,000, then you might be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll check your stuff out.
Yeah.
And it goes from there, right?
It gives you something to work with. And I was following up to promoters that I'd emailed months ago when I didn't have a following. And I was like, hey, things are going really well, by the way. Do you want to be part of this journey?
Exactly.
And so it did give me something to show for myself. And it's just so like cliche as well, isn't it? Because when I had got to like around the 100K followers mark on Instagram, I had people coming out of the woodwork from like 10 years ago, like on Facebook. I didn't even know I still had an account. Like, oh my gosh, wow, you're doing amazingly. This is so cool to see you do your thing. And I was like looking at my bank account and I was like, I have 1 month left.
Okay.
I have 1 month left,
Right,
and then
okay.
like I'm out. So I started applying for jobs at the time when
it was all popping.
Yeah, when it was all popping off. Everyone was like, "You're absolutely smashing it."
Social media.
Yep.
Social media.
Highlight reel.
Yeah.
I was literally in my room sending out job applications left, right, and
really?
center. Yeah. I was like, I need money in the bank this month. Like anything, temp work.
Yep.
And literally within a week of me starting that process, I got the first email.
Oh, did you? Yeah, we want to book you.
Yeah, we want to book you for a guest set. This is our budget. I'm like,
ooh.
Cool. Yes. Tonight.
Let me think.
And I also got an email from like a party travel agency they basically have like resident DJs over the summer in their different resorts.
Yeah.
And I was like, amazing. That would give me, it's probably a little bit more commercial than my sound, but like that will give me some invaluable club experience.
Big time.
And honestly, I was saying yes to everything.
Sure.
I was just like, yes. Let's dig myself out of this hole. Because by that point it was going to take me a few months to get back on my feet realistically. And yeah, I kept just getting bookings, interestingly, much more around Europe than in the UK, but
really?
Not complaining.
Amazing.
It's been fantastic.
Amazing. So yes, you've done like, let me read the list again. You've been to like Cyprus, France, Munster, Ibiza, Germany, Milan, Spain. You've done a few festivals as well.
Yes, I've done festivals with Jubel, so it's like more of a brand activation thing.
Yeah, this is
but
good though.
Again, it's been such good experience to actually get in the festivals.
And is that, do you outreach to these brands? Or are they coming to you now, or a bit of both?
Jubel was actually an amazing one because I discovered them at Taste of London Festival in 2019.
Nice.
And I don't drink beer other than Jubel.
Hello.
And I tried it and I was like, this is really nice.
Oh.
And Chrissy and I just became like obsessed with the brand and kind of like I engaged with them on socials. And then that conversation happened earlier this year, and they were like, look, we really like your stuff and we want to work with you at some of the festivals that we've got going on. And then it just became a perfect partnership. I love
it when that happens.
Yeah,
and this is like little bits of outreach like that, and you know, tagging stuff that you love, and just like you say, being yourself, and like not promoting stuff that you hate and don't like and things like that. Yeah. Stuff comes full circle.
It really does. Yeah, it really does.
So now you've had like some of your life and you've got loads of good content. Is the plan now just to keep building content, keep getting the gigs? How's the steady income of gigs happening now? Is it steady flow, or
well, I mean,
is it the life of a DJ?
We've got winter around the corner, so we'll see where I'm at in a few months. No, but the plan is definitely keep the gigs coming in. Definitely go hard on the content again. I think especially like over the winter months, just get in the studio, smash out content, because you know that as much as I love playing out to a live audience, and that's at the core of all of this, all of my opportunities have come to me off the back of Instagram. So and socials in general. So that just has to be in the strategy. Like
100%. It has to be in everyone's strategy. And like, I was doing some research like on your stats, and like people like be like, right, what is consistency? Like, you've posted 515 TikToks.
Oh my God.
Right. And it's like, you know, people are posting 10 and being like, I'm not going viral. And it's like, this is the levels, right?
TikTok does not work like that.
No, it doesn't. And like you say, it is about like nurturing relationships over time. And like, people might not come crawling to you when you know, go viral on TikTok, but it's a conversation starter. It's like a respect level. It's that kind of notoriety to be able to maybe outreach, or to have someone look at you and be like, oh, these are serious. Yeah. You know? And
also like I'll like get more into like the actual DJing and the music shortly, but like I had to prioritize content as well from an income perspective, because when I was DJing, you know, again, like around last winter when I was really struggling for work and I was doing really low paid gigs last year, I was just like, DJing isn't the career choice if you want to make loads of money. Right. Like realistically, unless you're in the top like 0.01%, it's not the career to make loads of money unless you really, really build a brand. Yeah. And so, and also that allows you to diversify your income
100%.
and make money from like branded content and partnerships. And obviously you need a profile online to do that. So it's just like my business mind as well that drives me to do that.
100%. Yeah. You had a sort of viral Instagram and TikTok when you're saying something like, you know, DJing is basically like a startup company. All of the things you don't see behind the scenes, you have to like figure out on your own.
Yeah.
Like how to make content, how to be a social media manager, how to be an accountant, how to do outreach networking. It's just
everything. We're the CEO of our own startups. That is how it is.
100%.
Totally.
But you do get like applicable skills elsewhere that it would take you like 20 years in a job to get. Do you know what I mean? It's like a crash course.
The experience is insane.
I
feel like I could do any job after DJing. I'm like, listen, I've covered all angles now.
Yeah. I remember when I come like doing Crossfader full time, I just like walked in first day and I'm like, I know everything what to do here. I've been doing all of this.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, I think also to answer your question about next steps for me is this summer, I feel like I've been really thrown in the deep end because like we were discussing earlier, I've managed to like work my way up in DJing without actually ever having to DJ in a club for a few hours and hold a dance floor.
Yeah.
And so that has been a huge learning curve this summer, even just for my 1 hour guest sets, like understanding that my sound, like you have to adapt your sound for different crowds.
Sure.
Because you might get, especially with the way that I put out content, I do have a lot more commercial sounds, but I also love playing remixes, so many edits, like global dance stuff. And it just doesn't work with some crowds. You have 100%. To be ready to like go full commercial, or at least just like, you know, work the crowd pleasers into your style.
100%. It's one of the main reasons I wanted to get you on, because you openly talk about, you know, sort of skipping this residency scene, which is something you want to get on your belt because it's a great tool to have. But it's like, you know, there'll be people saying, well, you know, you need to be doing 5 years and get your reps in, which is fine. But if you can get it, you can get it. But it's just another opportunity way to get in. Like I said at the top of this podcast, like if you're in an area where there isn't that much opportunity, you might be in a country where it doesn't have many clubs, or in a city that's just like miles away from anywhere that plays music. The opportunity to get into the industry, there's multiple ways, and obviously like the content is like number one. And like you said, now with the opportunities, you do have the opportunity where you're networking, you're meeting these people, having these gigs to fall back on and be like, actually, I'm interested in doing more residencies to get the hours and the reps in under my belt, because I know that my shows can be better, and then I can learn and my content can get better and all that kind of thing.
Exactly. I think like maybe in theory you can skip that stage.
Yeah.
And, you know, with branding and social media as it is today, and I'm sure there are a lot of DJs that have done that, but I would just feel so much more confident getting on the decks in a club, knowing that I can go anywhere that I want to or need to with the mix. And I think also something that's really important to think about that maybe isn't discussed as much like on this topic is job security. You don't, as a DJ, you don't have the same job security as someone on a contract, like on payroll. 9 to 5, exactly. So you need to be able to still, you know, get bills paid outside of what you do in the public eye. And so, for example, if a huge brand approached me with a huge budget to do, you know, an event, a gig for an event that they're doing, and they want a certain style of music that isn't what I play in my club and festival sets, I would still really like to be able to do that.
100%.
And I still like other music as well. Course, and I would love to be able to think, hey, you know what? I've literally got the perfect playlist for that entire gig already. And I know the transitions inside out. So yeah, I'm going to do that. And then maybe that covers me for like X amount of time to reinvest in this part of my business and focus on doing some events perhaps to like grow my live audience in London, but not necessarily like make a lot of money from those events, you know? Like there are things that you have to do for free in this job too, and you've got to get your money in different ways. So
yeah, there's kind of two ways to look at it. We were talking about this earlier a little bit, where there's like you're building you as like a personal brand. So it's not necessarily attached to like the music you play. It's part of it, but you're building your brand alongside the DJ content. Or there's the other way of like double niching down into towards like your into like the music. It's like I play minimal tech house, and that's all you're going to see on this channel. So there's two ways to go about it, and like I said, but both ways work, and both avenues rely on having consistent content all the time to push to that audience. And if you look at it from sort of the outside in, like you say, you're working with brands, you can position yourself there. You're like, I want to work with like these types of brands. Then you can sort of position your sort of content around that.
Exactly, yeah. And I think like it's once you've got your name like in the mix anyway behind the scenes, like you'll be able to get certain bookings like off the radar anyway. And I think my sound has been on such
where we at now? Where are we at with music? What are you playing? A lot of your sort of bootleggy edits have gone viral. Some of your mashup stuff's gone viral. Like where are you finding what's your music taste at the minute? Because it can change. That's fine. And True. Where do you find a lot of the edits and things like that?
I would describe my sound right now as global dance music.
Yeah.
Because like it's kind of cheeky in a way because it just covers so much. Like that's anything from Afro house to ballet funk to dance hall, house, like all of it. And I suppose I would like look to the likes of Major Lazer or DJ Snake as references for that.
Sure.
But when I first started DJing, I was doing like hip hop and UK rap, and that's what my old radio show was. Years back, and so that's the music that I had that I started with, and I also have crates of the open format stuff for the more commercial events, and some of the sounds that I've posted on Instagram that have gone really viral are more commercial. So I do get booked for more commercial events while I'm like on my Twitch streams just playing loads of like Brazilian rave music.
Brazilian underground tech.
So to sum it up and being like fully transparent. That's the stage that I'm at now, is basically working out, do I double down on one niche and pick a lane?
Yeah.
Or do I continue to like focus on growing my personal brand and being able to genre hop and mix across, because it is possible. And there are people that are paving the way for that now. So watch this space.
Stay tuned. And
where will I go next?
And on the music tip, shall we play a game?
Yes.
Right. Don't know if you've listened to podcasts recently, but we've stuck on a game for a while. It's called Crossfader Chart Challenge. Basically, right, you've got 7 positions in your chart. I'm going to play 7 random songs. Once they enter the chart, they cannot be moved. Okay?
Oh, gosh.
So I basically picked like, none of your music, kind of hip hop and then housey stuff, but just like the biggest songs of this year on the dance floor, kind of, right? Fairly recent as well. So, So you've got 7 positions. Are you ready?
I never will be.
Right, let's go. Let's start with this.
Oh.
Should we go off? Do you want to go off? We did this with Joe. We decided to go crowd reaction or personal taste. What do you want to go off?
I'm selfish, so my personal taste.
Personal
every
taste.
time,
Cool.
Oh.
Sprinter. What a banger, by the way.
I'm going to put this at number 3 because I want to put it at number 1, but I play like so many remixes of this one. So I'm like, it's been played all the time. It's got to go near the top, but I'm scared of what's to come.
Oh, okay, right, next one.
Oh.
Here she is. Queen Georgia. This version went like viral on TikTok, and then it became like an actual song, like with the Gypsy One remix. Georgia Smith, Little Things. One of mine of the summer. I love this song.
I'm actually.
Where are you going?
Gonna put it at number 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Not the. Still love it.
Because I only like the remixes.
Yeah. Okay. Not a big one of the original.
Yeah, just.
Yeah.
I love the remixes, but.
Yeah.
Not too about the original.
Okay, let's go a bit more hip hop.
Oh.
This is like the biggest one now as we're recording this.
I'm going to 5 this one.
You're going to 5 it?
Yeah.
Are you still playing a bit of this stuff in your sets and stuff?
I am, but not
edits.
Yeah, exactly.
All edits, aren't they? Yeah. Where do you find like all edits? Is it SoundCloud mainly?
SoundCloud, Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all SoundCloud and Bandcamp.
After the game, you're going to have to give us some producers to follow and stuff
I will.
where were you putting that 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've got...
I love this game.
Well, this is where it starts getting stressful.
Oh, no, I'm not...
Right, because you've done 7 Little Things, 5 Fuck You Mean Gunner, 3 Sprinter. Let's go with...
I mean, one.
No,
I was like going to give myself a minute to think about it.
No one's ever gone so hard on a number one.
Yeah, it's this is it. This is it.
The Pegster, I call her.
Again, like, gosh, I really need to play some originals in my set, but I've been absolutely smashing out a remix of this song. I mean, it's like, it can go anywhere in the set, and it's just like the best moment of the set.
Yeah, I mean, and you just on the party islands. It's just like every strip of every party island is Peggy Goo. No. Amazing, right. What we got next? We got this one. It's a bit more housey.
Oh, of course.
I'd say this is more UK vibes. But this has been doing bits as well on party scenes. Jazzy Giving Me.
I think I'm going to put this at number 6.
6?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bop. It's a bop. But I haven't been playing it too much,
Not
to
too
be
much.
fair.
Fair enough.
Got to be honest.
Yeah, no. So 6. So you've got 4 and 2 left.
Oh my God. This is actually so tense. I already have regrets as well.
Right. Do you play this one or what? Relax My Eyes. This one, when it came about, I was getting requests for this all the time at my student gigs, and I was like, I don't really get this. It's super chill.
Yeah.
And then one day I was just like, this song is amazing. It just like crept up on me. So relax my eyes.
I know what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like a slow burner.
It's like a slow burner. I'm like, now I'm just like obsessed. It's this bit.
Yeah, true.
Relax my eyes. You've got 4 and 2.
I think that one's going to have to be 4.
Yeah, so you've got 2 left. So let's have a look. So the last one for is this.
Oh my God, yes, perfect.
Happy days.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy with the top 3.
Are you happy?
I'm so happy with the top 3. Like, it gets a little bit murkier beyond that, I'll admit.
Yeah.
Might have some regrets, but top 3, nailed it.
Regrets. Joe LaBelle had 7 and 1 left, and he
oh my God.
he had to put Who Told You in number 7. he was wounded.
I'm glad that wasn't me.
So your chart is 7 Little Things, 6 Giving Me, 5 Fuck You Mean, 4 Relax My Eyes, 3 Sprinter, 2 Who Told You, 1 Peggy.
Listen,
happy with that?
I'm just happy with the top 3. I'm happy with the top 3.
So
such a brilliant game.
It's such a good game, right?
So good.
It gets pressure. Like the boys are always stressed every week about. Where are you finding all your edits? And is there anyone we need to like follow for like you say you're playing like Bali Funk and then like Moonbaton and like global. Like global is a great word for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
SoundCloud and Bandcamp is literally where I find everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, in terms of producers to follow, Terracora.
Oh yeah, I follow them.
Paul Mond. Solely, Higher Light.
Solely is a joke.
Yeah, like ridiculous.
I honestly play probably 8 of his edits in every set now.
Yes, I know what you mean. FS Green, another producer who I play like 8 edits by, like in every set. Franchise, Crooks Pistols. Amazing. I mean, and I've had the pleasure of like DJing with these guys over summer, which has just been like a big life goal ticked off of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, Egg Never, he has just been dropping heat.
Oh my God.
Recently.
The Rumble Afrobeat.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever played normal Rumble. I just play the Afrobeat version. Like, oh my God.
So he's done the Rumble remix. Also he's done an amazing remix of Sprinter.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, it's quite God. Like, it's kind of like
straight.
UK. It's like, I'm going to say like a cross between like UKG, but like bassy.
Okay.
It's just like a proper club edit.
Bop,
yeah. And then also he did a remix of Na Na Na, which is mixed with Gypsy Woman. And it's just but it slaps. It's like kind of Afro house.
How long do you spend music searching, music hunting?
To be honest, my algorithm knows me really well now.
Yeah, it's good.
So after like the kind of in the first like years of digging, generally I can find some amazing stuff online, but the best discoveries happen when you let yourself go like deep down the rabbit holes.
It is
for sure.
It is.
And also just like, in fact, I saw a post from Jamie that says something like this recently on your feed about actually just searching for like your like a specific song and looking for an edit of it.
Yeah.
I've had so many amazing discoveries doing that on SoundCloud and then like working them into my radio show, and people were like, what? Like I forgot about this song and you found this like completely flipped genre version of it.
Yeah. And what's good about it is when you're going to clubs and playing these edits, that content then it becomes all the comments are, where is it? What is this song? Because it's
ID.
they need to find it, and it's like another like engagement tool that you can use, and you're instead of just playing like the originals.
Oh,
like
definitely.
So it's all your sets sort of like 80% edits, and then the hot tracks.
They really are like, unless I'm doing like like
specific.
a sort of commercial residency gig, it's literally all edits. But like you have to really back yourself when you're doing a set with edits, because some crowds aren't as receptive to it.
Sure.
So with certain gigs, I'll have to read the room. And adapt accordingly. As always, I mean, that's literally the job. And yeah, like I had a gig last night where I was just like, I started with some super like corporate crowd friendly vibes, and then I was like, I'm just gonna tease in this like a Mapiano edit, and then I was like, this is being received well, and then I was just like, bam, we're deep in the Mapiano.
All of a sudden, it's like, where are we?
There's no turning back now. The edits have begun.
Amazing. Right, what is next? What's in the next 6 months pipeline, year? Have you planned, or are we now like just in the moment?
We're literally, I've been in the moment all summer, I'd say. I have made sure to enjoy every minute of summer.
It looks like it.
And just be like, I'm not going to stress about content today. I'm just going to enjoy being in the room and playing for these people, and just being like, wow, this is so cool. I've been like flown out to another country to DJ.
Come on, I gotta go to a hotel.
The novelty doesn't wear off.
No,
like, honestly.
Hotel never wears off, does it?
Even on No Sleep, I'm like, this is pretty gangster. I literally like had 2 trips where I had to take my suitcase to the club to get picked up after my set from the club and go straight to the airport to go to another country for a gig the next day. And I was like, I have officially completed my rock star initiations.
This is it.
I made it,
and
Mum.
Then you step onto the Ryanair flight and you're like, oh.
And then you're asleep on Athens airport floor, like, And then my parents are calling me like, we've just checked Fine Friends and you're in the wrong country. Are you okay?
Yeah.
It's like, Mum, I had just fallen asleep. But no, I would actually say, and I'm always transparent, like with my audience about this. Right now, we're going into winter. It's time to like kind of almost get back into the behind the scenes like strategy and like come up with what's happening next. And I think
so. See the long game.
Yeah, I think over the next week or so, I'm really going to sit down and just kind of work out what the game plan is, how I can really push forward with growing my brand, but also just nailing my sound and then continue building on that. I'm still solo right now, so I'm doing everything independently. Yep. Don't have a manager or a booking agent. Yep. For a long time, I was like, I can't do any of this without that. But actually, I've kind of realized, again, like the art of backing yourself in this game is very important. Yeah. Just continuing.
And plus on that, it's a strange one. I was the same before I got my booking agent. You think, this will take all the stress off. It isn't. It is doubly, because all of a sudden you've got someone who relies on you making sort of content and all that kind of stuff. So it's good to sort of know how everything works yourself and do it all and make the failures, because then once people start coming on board, it just
totally. I'm embracing it, and I've had like conversations like that with friends as well in the industry who are like, you can't expect someone to join the team and everything changes overnight, because at the end of the day you're still running the ship, like it's still your business, and these are all resources that will help you, but you've kind of got to know where you're going and how everything works in the first place. So I'm just kind of enjoying the journey.
Listen, we are going to enjoy the journey with you, and we are backing you, and we can't wait to see how it pans out. Congratulations on everything that's happened so far, but on to the next one, on to the next levels. I'm going to try to force you to do a mix in this studio right now for us as well.
Oh God.
But thank you so much. Where can everybody follow you?
Everyone can follow me on socials at Annabel Stop It. At Annabel Stop It, that's TikTok, Instagram, SoundCloud's just Annabel, actually. I managed to do a little Beyonce there.
Hello.
just get the first name.
Just Annabel. That's a flex. You've got to go hard. If you're doing the one name, it's got to be on point. And it is as well. Amazing. Listen, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Follow it, and we'll look forward to seeing the journey.
Sweet.